Okay, folks, listen, I don't know why this one is in such demand, you know what I mean? Because I make it quite often on my channel, but I'm gonna try to explain it the easiest and simplest way to make smothered chicken. Not a whole lot of ingredients, as you guys can see. And don't forget, the full ingredient list will be on my website. That's smokingandgrillingwithab.com, and that's WITAB.com. Okay, so look, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by, patting our, I've already washed and cleaned these up. They just been sitting on top of this napkin, absorbing any moisture, right? We just wanna make sure that your chicken is patted dry. Now, you guys are gonna ask me, some of you guys ask this question like, what kind of chicken can I use, what part? Any part you would like. I'm using thigh and I'm using drumstick. Not doing no trimming because we're gonna get all of that flavor. But you see these right here, drumsticks, and then I got boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They look like a hot mess, but I promise you what it's gonna render is gonna be good. All right, so once I have it like this, now I want you guys to know this is how I always do it. I have everything lined up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my pepper. You guys can start any kind of way you would like to. I just have everything that I'm gonna be using inside of my, as far as the seasoning goes, because we're gonna do, you'll see. It's gonna all make sense to you in just 1 second, right? Give it just a generous pinch of salt. That's just to wake up the flavor, right? Over here, I'm gonna come with my garlic powder. We just add some on top. Don't forget, we're gonna mix this around, so it's gonna transfer. Each piece is gonna release some, to the other. Right, now we'll come with our onion powder. So that was garlic and onion. And don't forget, folks, the full ingredient list is on my website, smokingandgrillingwithab.com, and that's WITAB.com. Right, and then this right here is key to me. I know that we have a regular paprika, and then you have a smoked paprika. I'm gonna suggest you guys have both, but 90% of the time I'm using smoked, paprika. The other be more like for color, you know what I mean? I even use this in my potato salad as well. So we just put some in here like this. And I'm gonna show you guys might not be able to see right this second, but that's what it is. Then you get in here and then we're gonna work it around. Anything you see that it doesn't look, completely seasoned to you, you can always add more. And so when you get done, you see how that is? You can see that we got seasoning all over, transferred on the bottom and everything. You just want to work it in, kind of squeeze it too, because we patted it dry, but it's going to be a little bit on the tacky side, so don't worry. It'll still keep our, seasoning on there because it's nice and tacky. Okay, so chicken is right. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and, warm up my skillet, right? I'm using a cast iron skillet. So let's see, let's go ahead and get our oil up to temp, right? So I start off with like a medium flame, So I'm gonna put a couple of tablespoons. Look at this right here, just that extra virgin olive oil. I can tell you, as soon as it touches anything that's hot, it kicks back an aromatic that's really, really good as far as whichever one. Now this is infused with garlic. I use scallion. There's so many of these that I use. It depends on what I'm making, but you want to start right here. So let me bring this up to temp, and then we're gonna start with this chicken. Okay, so I'm gonna move this around a little bit. I can see it starting to shimmer on the top. That lets me know that it's hot enough. Now, if you guys are using chicken thighs, I like to go skin side down. If you're using boneless, skinless, the same way where that skin usually is on top, that's where I go ahead and drop it down. Right, so we just put this right here. You hear that right there? That's all you need, folks. And then I'm gonna get another piece there. As I stated before, I'm gonna be using some drums. You know what I mean? So this right here, look at my skillet. It's big enough for it all. Now you just want to get yourself a pair of tongs. You know what I mean? So we'll wait, make sure it releases, nothing sticking, and then we'll be checking it and then flipping them over and browning all sides of the drums and both sides of the thighs. All right, so you can hear it, it's cooking nicely. Now for the thinner pieces, I'm gonna start by looking at the bottom, and look, if I can move it like this, that tells me it already had released. So let's go ahead and look. That looks good, then we just turn it. You're not trying to cook it all the way through, right? So let's do the same. Okay, that'll move. Let's get some more color on this side, like that. Don't forget to, the heat is concentrated in the middle. We got it low, so it has to come here and spread, to cook everything else, right? So when I see it look like that, then I just turn it, that's fine. Again, I just want to keep reiterating that we do not want to, cook these. Let's look at this one. Now, you see how we turn those That's fine. Again, we just getting some color, a little crust on there, right? So now I said I wanted to look at the back. Look at that right there. Now we turn that piece over. Right, let's look at this one. That'll work. We put it here and we let it fry. Now what you want to do, you guys, you want to get yourself some type of plate to put it on. For me, I'm gonna be using paper plate. We just throwing them there just for a minute while we make the gravy. Then we're gonna finish everything up. This is why we don't mind when it's not cooked. Again, it's the color and the flavor that we're looking for. That's all we gotta have, and we're gonna continue to cook it all the way through. And don't forget, 165 is our magic number when it comes to, you know, our chicken. Okay, so let me show you this piece here, which is a little bit smaller. That's a great color. Can you imagine that with some gravy on the top? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on my plate. These here, when I look at them, I like to do all four sides. That's the way we just gonna call it. That's why you see this one hadn't been done yet. I can look at this one here and tell you, let's put some color over here on that side. Right, now we'll look here. We starting to get it. Right, let's go ahead and put it there. Let's look at the back side of this. And notice how nothing is sticking. All you see is just like the color, you know, the browning, right? We're gonna finish it again inside of the gravy, folks. Look at it here. This one here, I'm gonna let go just a little longer, right? And if you notice, I'm keeping everything more sort towards the center. Because when you got cast iron, don't forget, it heats in the middle and has to spread all the way out. And I'm using a medium flame. You don't want to cook these high. All right. So when you get them, you know, brown the way you want them, look at that right there. You see that right there? Ooh, look at the color on those. They look like that front, back, side to side. Now we getting ready. What I did was I turned this off also to let this cool a little bit. I'm gonna take some of the impurities that are in here, scrape them to the side and get them out. And now we finna make that gravy. Okay, so I'm not sure if the camera's capturing it. I just got rid of the bigger impurities. You know what I mean? Normally we leave all of our fine, that's what it's called, inside of there. But I just got them up because I want my gravy to look, you know, just look a certain way. But yeah, as you can see, I still left some in there. Now, I done lit a fire underneath the bottom of here after I let it cool down. I'm on a medium flame. Let me double check it. Yep, that's it. Now, I'm gonna start off with some unsalted butter. You know what I mean? This is just the best way. We're watching our salt intake, so we'll let that go ahead and melt. So what I do is I keep it on the outside, just let it work its way, you know, down. Once this is melted, then we're gonna come with our onions. I've already cut my onions. You know, what I did was I sliced them. I like having them complete like this. Let me just show you, like this. You know what I mean? So we'll start with that. Now you guys can cut yours down any kind of way you would like. That's totally up to you. I'm just letting you know like how I do it. But I hope I'm explaining this so everybody has the courage to go ahead and make this. These are what I call great videos to get your confidence up, you know, to get you in the kitchen. All of them are really, but. Okay, so you see that it melted up? Now we're just gonna come with our onion. I always go with my onions when I'm doing veggies anyway, because I like for that to have a head start, right? As you can see, I like onion in my gravy. You guys put as much or as little as you like on your end. It's really totally up to you. Right, so I'm gonna move this around, make sure all of the onion get some type of butter, a little bit of that infused olive oil that we had in there. And if I hadn't said it earlier, you don't have to have infused olive oil. You know, you can use regular olive oil. You know, if you got canola oil, you can use that. You know what I mean? But I like to start with just the good ingredients, you know. So we start with that. Now we're gonna get these down on the bottom and let these start to caramelize. Is that right? Y'all let me know down in the comment section below how to say it. But I can tell you how to make some great food though. Okay, so I want you to look at my onions and see where they are. Now, if you guys are using a pan and anything that has stuck down the bottom, when you put these onions in there, the acid in that and the moisture helps steam, brings it right up. So now you got all of the fine up and ready to go. Look at these. Yes, sir. Now, I know y'all talking about, hey, I got a burger, AB, put some of them on top. No, we're gonna go ahead and take these down and make this gravy. I don't wanna go no further than that right there. That's good, right? So now I'm getting ready to take my garlic, but I'm gonna show you a little trick that I learned since I've been on YouTube. You know what I mean? What I'm gonna do is bring this all to the center, right? We'll let that steam while I go ahead and press, you know, so I can get these minced garlic, right? So I put everything on top. I don't want it to be on the pan right now because it'll burn, right? So let me finish these and then we go from there. Okay, once that the aromatics kick up from that garlic, and you know you got something there. Now look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and just add our, you know, our flour, right? It wasn't enough for me to do it in increments, just a couple of tablespoons. Now, what it's gonna do is it's gonna cook the flour taste out of that and marry, you know, all of our seasonings and the butter, the infused olive oil, the garlic, and everything together. You don't wanna see any whites. And you want it to get thick and a little bit on the pasty side, don't worry. It's gonna take about at least 30 seconds, right? Now I'm using a spatula. I'm still running this underneath the bottom like that. You see that right there? That's it. Now, let's go ahead and start adding our heavy cream, or if you're using heavy whipping cream, or you can use half and half, whichever one, right? You see how I'm just adding this to it? And look at what I'm doing with my hand. I'm constantly stirring the whole time, right? Any little lumps in there, you just want to keep working it around, right? Now you want to come with your chicken stock. I got to tell you guys this too. You know, it will separate inside the container, so make sure you guys always shake, right? So you can see how soft these, look at these onions. Oh man. All right, so now we just add a couple of cups here, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make an adjustment from medium to a medium-high flame, right? And we're just gonna keep this moving, right? Like I said, we don't want it to thicken up and get too, you know, too lumpy, right? So keep it like this. So heat will be your friend here till we get this back up to a boil. Now, once you get it back up to a boil, I kind of like reduce my flame to about this right here. You see that? You just don't want it to be too high. What we're gonna do is we're gonna let this cook down just a little bit and become a little bit, you know, on the thick side. We're not making a thick gravy, folks. You know, we're just getting it in there, making sure we don't have no lumps. And it's okay to let it sit just for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Let it just cook. You don't want a high boil, no rolling boil. But this right here is a nice simmer. I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna wait till I get this just a little bit more on the thick side. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our chicken back to it. Okay, so you can see where we at. What I'm doing now is I'm going to get myself a tester spoon. So what I want to do is I want to test, you know, here somewhere. And you can see it's starting to thicken up. This is good because we're going to cook the rest of the chicken in this right here. It's going to keep it nice and moist and cook it so that it'll be 165, right? So we just get a little bit. It's got that soup consistency to it. That's what you want. But now I'm checking to see if my seasoning is right. Oh no, I'm right. We don't need to add nothing else. Now you gotta do it to your own palate, right? Again, these are them kind of videos and these recipes that'll get your confidence up, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna reduce this down to a low flame, right? You see that? You can see it start, once it gets to that soup consistency, watch out folks. I don't like to take it and make it thick here, because if you make it thick here, we got a little cooking to do, then it becomes too thick, right? So, look at that, let that go. Now I'm getting ready to bring in and reintroduce, right? We're finna reintroduce the chicken here. Look at me, y'all, trying to come up with some kind of pattern, you know? So, take this, put this in here like that. This one here on this side. And this one here, ooh-wee. Now, anything that has dripped, you see that right there? That ain't nothing but flavor, folks. We cooking it anyway. I know it might look a little different, but if you want everything to be way over the top, and especially for all my people that this is a new recipe for you, look at yonder. Now I'm gonna take a spoon and just put a little bit over the top like that, just to coat it. No worries, the heat and everything is gonna, you know, make it come down, but I like to just protect it. And if anything gets back into the gravy, that's a plus. I'm gonna put a lid on the top. For those of you guys that don't have a pot, that don't have that, you can make a pan that doesn't have a lid. Don't worry, you can make this in a pot that you do have one. And if all else fails, you don't have one, neither, you can go ahead and just cover it with some aluminum foil, right? So now we're finna cover. Now we're gonna cook this for about 20 to 25 minutes, right? At 20 minutes, I'm gonna use my meat thermometer and check and see where we are with our temperature in our chicken, right? Remember, just 20 to 25 minutes as far as it needs to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. I did peek at it just to look at it, but you guys can see it is a masterpiece, right? I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. I know that it's ready. What I'm gonna do is now we wanna check our temperature, right? So I can tell you how smooth that went in there right there. Oh, this is nice. Now don't forget, this is like a dark meat. So look, 179. Let's get down here. This one right here is 176. Now just test one more for the and giggles. This one happens to be it's settling around 182. Yeah, so it's ready. I knew it was. I had already checked it just to make sure. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and plate it. But just to show you guys, look at the gravy. Remember I said you didn't want to make it too thick because it was gonna continue. You see this right here? Look at that. This is what you want to have. Now for the dry spices that you guys saw, I went ahead and added that. I didn't record that. You know what I mean? I just added it. You know, the full ingredient list is on my website. You guys know, smokingandgrillinwithab.com. That's WITAB.com. Now, that will give you the measurements. Really, you're supposed to taste this and just figure out where you want to be. But I got you guys in the ballpark. Right now, this right here is fire. If I had a restaurant, I'd serve it. Okay, folks, look, it's really nothing else to do. You didn't see the plating. That's what brought you here, you know, that thumbnail, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just get myself, you know, a piece. Now, when I tell you it's super tender, you don't need no knife, you know what I mean? But I got one. This is kind of like a big piece too. You see how it tears, but you see that right there? Look at it, cooked through and true. I'm not finna over talk you, folks. I'm finna go ahead and get me some of this. Cheers, y'all. There's something about when you inhale, when you put it in your mouth, you can just taste it through the air before it even touches. Now this right here is fire. I hope I explained it, you know, as simple as I can. You know what I mean? These are the kind of recipes that you can put together, especially if it's your first time, right? This gets your confidence up. After you make this and everybody around you is like oohing and awing and then you don't have none left, that'll give you the confidence to, to like just continue to level up. Now, if you're new to my channel, let me take this time to say thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, smash that subscribe button, and tell everybody out there, listen, there's a channel out here that's simplifying these recipes and taking the mystery out of cooking. And those of you guys that have been with me for a minute, you know I'm either going to do sweet tea or Kool-Aid. You know what? Looking down at that, it looks like it's Kool-Aid time. Guess what? I'm out. Peace.